So I kind of wanted to show something that it was kind of a question that came up a couple times on um, words on how to animate the camera with a lock off, or if you're constrained to that motion path. So currently, I have this character. He's constrained to the motion path, and you can see as he's flying around, the camera is also constrained to the motion path. If we look at where he is, you can see that I actually have him moving around a bit on top of having this motion path, right? So what I've done is inside of this group, this is my overall group. This is my motion path group, right? So I have my motion path that this is tied to. There it is. And that is animating just everything on that motion path. So I can move it around, I can do all that stuff. But I've also got a rotate group. So let me turn this off. Let's change my framing. So I've got my rotate group. Actually, here's that fun trick that we've looked at before. If I go and select this camera, go to my camera shape, I change my display options. Let's turn my opacity all the way up, and let's turn this to black so we can see exactly what we're looking at. So I've got a rotate group. So this actually rotates my camera around the character. So as I want, if I want to, I can actually key my rotate. So it's very similar to what we did with the camera rig. You see, I can actually have my camera rotating around the character as they are moving through the city. So this kind of gives you a lot more flexibility in where you're throwing your cameras. Because even though I'm having it, like now I'm just having it rotate around. There we go. I can actually do a lot more dynamic moves, even though it's still technically attached to this motion path, right? So that's something that I think you guys should be a little bit more wary of. So you can still have these moves that are just stuck to it, and he's got the same sort of deal where he's got a group that is actually transforming him, moving him around, and I have it set on a loop. So these are my anim curves. They're pretty easy. Start and end frames are the same, and then I have them post infinity with a cycle. So if you look, it is just doing that same animation over and over and over, and it's just enough to help give some life as the character is like moving around the scene. So he's moving, he's doing his thing. If I didn't like how fast this whole thing was moving, though, I can go back into my motion path because that's on a key. I can always go in here, motion path, grab this, and let's say I want him to move a little faster. I've got this. It's all those keys are all still there, but now he's moving faster through the city, right? So regardless, he's attached to this motion path that's just traveling down the way. So this would be a good way, I would say, to match that. With that, I also use I use it as a scale. I call it a scale group, and it's just controlling how close and how far my camera is. So I can like scale it going like out a little bit. Not that you should do this way, but like as your camera is moving around, so he's coming towards us a little bit. He's coming, keep going, keep going, keep going, and now he's over here. As this is starting to move out, I notice there's like an eclipse through a building a little bit right here. So maybe I'll actually just scale it out further, so to just get to the other side of that building. And let's have a look at. Oh, oops! I did not key the right thing. So let's go. Let's try this at like 5, 7, 8. Let's say 8. And I'm just gonna see that. 8. So you see, got that camera move going out. I'm going to key it here. Same thing. I'm going to have it come back in to like 2. So now I've got this like it's a much more dynamic way to work on top of like having something much more presentable. So I have this the camera moves out and it comes back in. I wouldn't do a move like that unless I had a much larger gap here, because I probably want to do that over a couple of buildings. So maybe I do something like this instead. But I have a building right where it is, so like that move probably wouldn't have it crash through a building like that, and then it comes to the character, right? But I would have a lot of these different kinds of controls in here, so I'm probably going to kill a bunch of these keys actually, all things considered. But yeah, you can kind of see how you can have a bunch of these different controls help build out a much more dynamic shot. Like now I'm just curious what this is going to do. So I've got something there. Let's delete this one and let's just see what this shot looks like now. This is probably not a shot you want to do, but it's interesting. So it's weird that it did that, but yeah. And yeah, it's a good way to like have the camera feel like a character on top of it being locked off. Like this is technically all still on a motion path, so if I wanted to, I can go in here. Let's go to my perspective view and just tear off a copy of my render cam. So I usually work with this on a second monitor. So you can see I use an 18. And if I wanted my city, if I wanted him to come in a little higher, I very much can just lift it up. And then, so this is all still, let me go into my render settings, play back every camera, and then he's still coming in through the city regardless. It's all still attached to it, but the camera is now tied to that animation as well. So this is a much easier way to keep that camera live and working with you instead of constantly having to counter animate it, right? So I think this is a much cleaner way to work. You can use this the same way with your camera rig and having a bunch of these kind of options in there. I basically made my own camera shake, and then I made my own rotation shake, just so that they can give me a little bit of a loop. It gives it a little bit more life. So yeah, I would probably only use like 20 frames of it, or maybe 100 frames of this, something like that. I think this is the strongest part of the shot. He still feels like he's moving a little too slow in this anim though, so I would probably also go back in here, motion path. Let's bring this. I want him to be moving maybe like a little faster, like 100% faster. So now if we look at the shot, this feels a little bit more accurate, right? But I might need to go in and speed up all the other animations in here because I didn't script it the way I wanted to. But yeah, that's so if I were to do that, actually, all things considered, just grab all this, go to Windows, anim, grab editor, grab everything. Let's just scale it all down to 200. There we go. Now let's have a look. So there you go. Easy retiming. So that feels pretty dynamic. Feels pretty quick. So that's how I would animate on a curve, even though I hate animating cameras tied to a motion path like this. Locked off with the camera. I will animate cameras on motion paths. I just tend not to have them be the same motion path as my characters.